Shit, that didn't work. Oh. Yo, guys, it's your boy the Purist, and we're here to talk boxing. Back with another episode of the Purist podcast. I'm here with Kuzan and Princess. How you doing, guys?
Good, thank you.
Gucci, man.
Glad to be back.
Everyone watching, again, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on Facebook, leave a like, follow the page. Again, big thank you for everyone who helped support. Yeah, let's go straight into it. Let's start with Danny Garcia versus Jose Benaviez Jr. I think the spirit of Angel Garcia, he was within me earlier, but I'm a bit more tired now, so I'm gonna keep it a bit toned down this time. But yeah, Danny Garcia, I wouldn't say it was easy work because Benavidez, he did do some good things in that fight, caught him a few times, but that's how Danny Garcia is. I think Kuzan said it last week. He's there to be hit. He's made to take punches, and he took a lot of punches, and that made it a good fight. But overall, I think it was experience more than anything because early on, you could see all the problems Benavidez was showing. I think they said he threw 33 jabs in the first round. And I know a lot of boxers that don't even throw 33 jabs in the whole fight, let alone in the first round. So he really put in work with that. Obviously, he had the good game plan, but I feel like he went away with that late in the fight.
Yes.
Let Danny get into it.
Yes.
Danny put a lot of body work from early. He put in a lot of body work, and I think that slowed down Benavidez. And like I said before, Benavidez, other than the jab, I don't see what it does that's that great. And Danny Garcia showed why he was a two-time world champion, two-weight world champion, why he was with the likes of Keith Thurman and Sean Porter and Errol Spence.
Yeah.
His resume, his Amir Khan, I think he fought Peterson as well. Like of course, he's been around for a long time, and a lot of people counted him out. I didn't know he had the bout of depression. Actually, that's when to start this. In the post-fight interview, the first thing he did was thank God and all his people, and then he just cried. Year and a half out the ring, apparently he was battling depression, anxiety, a lot of other things. So what did you guys make of that emotional outburst that he had?
For me, it was really touching. I like the fact that he was comfortable enough to do it on camera. Like, I think a lot of boxers don't get the credit that they're due. Like, it is tough mental work. Like, I would say that it's the hardest sport in the world. Like, you need to be physically fit, mentally strong. Everything needs to be right. Your discipline, control levels. You need to be able to adapt to different people's persona as well. That whole, some people completely change in the ring, and you also don't just leave that in the ring. You take that home, and we forget that. Like, we love our boxers, we enjoy it for the moment, and then we're sort of on to the next one, and we forget that there's a whole process that goes behind the mental capabilities that they have. So I think they just deserve a lot of credit. Like, throughout camp, getting in the ring, going home, it just doesn't stop. I can't see where it stops. Like, there's no mental break. If I'm exhausted from work, I can just take a month off or quit and change my job. Like, you cannot just, it doesn't just stop for you when you're a boxer. So yeah, I very much appreciate that he brought more attention to that, because I think we don't take it serious enough. Like, we just say, okay, well, you're a boxer, it comes with, but the truth is, it deserves to be, it deserves to be highlighted.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, not even just on the fact of him being a boxer, but him just being a man. We already know the stigma in the world is that, man, you're supposed to be tough, bro. You're not supposed to be crying. You're not supposed to be showing emotion, motherfucker. You're supposed to just deal with that shit. But what that does is it creates a problem, because you just keep that shit internally and it never comes out. And that's what it felt like with Danny Garcia. It felt like he had finally got to the end of the road, and he was just like, it just let out. It just all let out. And he was just like, man, y'all motherfuckers don't even know, man. I was struggling. But not even just on that. It's just so many folds. It's like an onion. There's so many layers, because this nigga is a boxer. He's a professional fighter. People in the world, they talk about him, regardless, whether it's good or negative. And those shits, you can say it don't affect you, but it can affect you at a time. And especially in this point in his career where, let's be real, this is a turning point in his career. He's in a new weight class. He had all that past history where he came up short against a lot of elite guys, a lot of fights where if he had won those fights, it would have definitely changed his career. I mean, a couple of those fights were unification fights. I mean, he fought Thurman for a unification fight. He almost won that. He would have been a unified champ. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of things. And it probably just knowing that you were so close on so many occasions and so many times, countless times again. In life, man, we just want one win, bro. One win to make it feel like it's worth some shit. And that's probably what he just needed. And this was probably that win for him to be like, you know what I mean? So Yeah, I mean, as for the shit at the end, it just felt like a basic human reaction, bro. Like he just needed to get it out, man. And I'm glad it came out this way because we have all seen it numerous times. Motherfuckers don't speak out and they end up dead or they kill themselves or it's just a downward spiral. So I'm hoping that this is just a good in the right direction for Danny Garcia, man.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think it is the reason why he came up short in all those fights? Because he's fighting against people with different styles, different makes, different strategies, but he always seemed to come up short. What do you think that was?
Maybe it boils back down to mentality and just mental strength, like where your mindset is. I think that plays a key role. We never really know what's going on behind the scenes. And I think when you really think about fighters in their best form, their mental is strong. And, you know, we talk about heart a lot in boxing, and that is a lot to do with your mentality. If your mental is strong and stable, you can normally push through and find that extra strength. That extra strength is mental. So maybe you point towards that.
Yeah, I think it's just, listen, man, it's just the people he fought, bro. The Thurman fight, I don't know. Listen, I'm not really high on Keith Thurman. I've never really been that high on Keith Thurman. When you call yourself one time and you're not really one time in motherfuckers, bro. Let's be real. You only one time in people who aren't elite. Let's be real. But like, I was never really high on him. And that fight, I felt like just a bad night. Run that shit back. I think he could beat Keith Thurman. Earl Spence, like AB says, he get hit a lot, and like that's not a guy you want to get hit a lot against, and because it makes you look bad. You know what I mean? So I just think it's the styles. It's just like this. Why didn't fucking Allen Iverson win a fucking ring? Because he had to go against Kobe. It's the same thing, you know? Why a lot of people didn't win rings when Michael Jordan was on top because they had to go against him. Kind of the same thing. Like maybe if he didn't have to fight Earl, you know, I think Earl's just that much of a better fighter than him, and that's just ultimately that's just how it lies, bro. You don't win it all. You know what I mean? So I think that's the only reason why he came up short. The Sean Porter shit, though. What you guys think about that fight? Like, what y'all think about that fight?
I think that was another close one. I gave it to Sean in the end, but
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so
it could have went other way.
I rewatched that and I was just like, yeah, I don't know. You know,
it was really close. I think it's debatable. I wouldn't argue with someone about that.
Yeah, guys, and see that's what I mean. So I definitely think that it's just with some of the fights, it's just who he fought, and his style doesn't make him. You know, his style allows him to be in close ass fights against elite people, and it's just you can't have that when you're trying to be the best. You know what I mean? You gotta be decisive. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's probably why, for real.
Not adaptable.
Hell of a fighter.
It's a lack of activity as well. I know he's a counter puncher, which helped him against Benavidez a lot, but sometimes against the other guys, they're countering you as well. They're not really giving you those opportunities to counter either, so it makes it really tough.
And with the Earl fight, Earl's punch placement was just better. It was just better that night. His punch placement was just better. It was just yeah, it was just better, man. You know. But yeah. As for the fight with Benavidez, I really wanted to talk about this. Joe, what I've noticed with Benavidez, he's going to be his own worst enemy because he allows himself to get taken away in these fucking mind games, dude. Like, dude, so emotional throughout that whole fight. Like, I hate when fighters get hit with something and they go, it don't hurt me. Bitch, we don't care that it don't hurt you. What matters is the judges are going to document and be like, whether it hurt you or not, the judges are going to be like, you got hit, motherfucker. That's all that matters. So all this shit of you going like, nobody gives a fuck. Like, it's not helping it's not helping you win the fight. It's not. The judges aren't going to be like, oh, you know, he got crushed right there, but he looks to be okay. I'm not gonna doctor. No, like they're not gonna be like that. That's Benavidez's problem, bro. He allows himself to get caught up with too much mind games. Like he thinks he's better than he actually is. Now, of course, he better than me. Look, full disclaimer, man. Look, I ain't no fucking fighter, so he whipped my ass, of course. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about him fighting Danny Garcia, bro. And it's like, bro, what are you doing, bro? I see him so many times you're getting clipped, and he's like, come on. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Same shit he did against Crawford. While you're doing all this dumbass shit, you could be figuring out how to beat him. Like, come on, bro. Like, and it's just like, I don't know. I think later it was just frustration, you know? And motherfuckers will do all that shit in the fight. And then when they do the who won, motherfucker will be like, oh, what the fuck? How I didn't win that? Because you're not throwing punches. You're fucking, you know what I'm saying? So I think that it was a close fight, but he let himself get taken away by the mind games. And Danny Garcia, like you said, is a vet. He was like, oh, for once he's seen him start reacting and shit, he probably was like, oh, he's cooked. I got him. I know exactly what to do. And you can see it. He was confusing. He would throw just something slight to the body just to get him to get his attention to it, and then bam, crack him right in his head. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? So it's just like he had him feeling uncomfortable, and Benavidez tried to make the uncomfortability look like, no, see, I'm good. Shit, I'm good. But no, you're not good, bro. You're not good. That shit was pissing me off. I hate when people fucking do that shit. I'm sorry. But yeah.
I agree. I think it was I think for me, it felt like a shame that Benavidez was so like focused on this cocky sort of persona that he was, because he was so wrapped up in that he didn't realize that he actually had a fighting chance. It was like, mate, you're actually in this fight. If you just stop playing about and focus, which I don't know what his team was saying. I'm pretty sure they weren't speaking English, but if they were not saying to him, you need to focus, then I really don't know what was going on in that corner, because he was genuine. Like every round, it's like he was just getting a little bit more sloppy and cocky with it.
Yes.
And I just couldn't quite figure out. I think his team might have been saying to him that he was doing okay, like, you know, you're in this, keep going, keep doing what you're doing, throw some combinations. But like what they really needed to be telling him is you need to focus. Like your boxing IQ is not that great. You don't have as much experience. And Danny Garcia is actually okay right now. Yes, you're touching him with a few shots, but it's not doing anything on a touch on what you think he's doing, basically. And I think personally, I feel like he let himself down in that fight, Benavidez, because you can see that he's capable of more, but the immaturity is still there.
Yep.
And that's, I guess, in career aspect and just mentality. Like he's just not thinking long term. Like you could have really pulled that out of the bag. Like you have somewhat of the capabilities. Garcia didn't look like he was performing at his top form to me personally. It seemed like he had his heart in it. He just didn't seem like he was on top form. And with that, that's your chance, Benavidez, for you to go in against Danny Garcia, who's got such a great reputation and fought so many reputable fighters, and actually have a chance. You should have taken it with both hands. Really, you should have Teofimo Lopez the shit out of this. Like,
no facts, and that's what pisses me off about it. And that's why I picked him, because in my head I was like, a week ago I was like, see, these are one of the fights where you prove where you stand in your career. You know what I mean? If you know, are you going to be the nigga to start to usher in like your era and move the people who have been here to the? And I'm thinking, okay, he has the tools to do it against Danny Garcia. That man could have picked him apart with the jab if he had just had some good composure. But like you said, he's still immature. You got to. How many losses are you going to take until you realize I need to tighten my shit up? After you got knocked out by Crawford in the last round of that fight, you should have been like, all right, I need to really be on my P's and Q's. You know what I mean? Because listen, like you said, Princess, that's not even top form Danny Garcia. That's Danny Garcia after some mileage, and he was still giving you gas. So what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was piss poor performance by fucking Benavidez. You disappointed me, man. I was a fan of yours, man. I had you picked to win this shit, man, and you just said fuck everything.
Yeah, I think that's also why I'm disappointed. More so because I genuinely thought that, and the fight was close. Like it's not like he had a terrible performance. The fight was close, yeah, but I thought it was going to be close, and my chest was going to be burning a bit. Like, that was so close. Like he could have done like nothing more. But like I left that fight feeling like, no, he could have done it. Benavidez could have done so much more. Like especially earlier stages. I felt like he was a bit more agile, he was a bit more flexible in the beginning. And then he just got so swung into the psychology of trying to get into Danny Garcia's head. And I'm not going to lie, I do think it somewhat works, because Danny Garcia did start to mirror his behavior. And I even looked at Danny Garcia like, you don't need to do this. Just carry on with what you're doing. Don't even forget it. Like, it's a waste of your time. But at the end of the day, he focused so much on getting into his head that he lost his own focus. And that, to me, is a wild reason to lose so close to someone like Danny Garcia in that level of a fight in your career. Like, that would have done way more for you than it would have done for Danny Garcia. Like,
yes, exactly.
Yeah, like it was
a former world champion, a former two-weight world champion, bruh. But you're not thinking like that. What's wrong with you, bruh?
He's going to look back and be like, wow, that was my chance. He is going to look back, because
his father probably going to tell him that. Because I think, don't their father train them too, or no? I know their father is like in their career. I don't know if he trains them or whatever, but I know he be doing interviews and shit, talking about it and shit, he's gonna scold him. He's gonna be like, "Come on, bro. What are you doing, bro?" You know?
But they should have been telling him in his corner a lot more, like, focus. Garcia's corner was telling him to focus because they know that's not his top form. They were looking at Danny Garcia and they were like, "You should be wiping the floor with this guy, and you're just, what are you doing? You're just floating around with him. This is not just like finish it off and make yourself look nice and clean." And Danny Garcia was just like, "I need to do that." Maybe he knew, like he just thought, "Look, this guy is more focused on trying to get to me." Even the little the push. I don't know if I'd call it a push, but you know when Benavidez got dropped on the floor basically. Like all of that, it's not actually getting to Danny Garcia. Like you got up and pushed him. He feels nothing. He's still composed. Like you got up and pushed him. He just looked at you like, yes.
You know what? Yeah, me when I box, I like doing stuff like that. I like winding people up, but it's like you can do like even like 2 minutes with someone. You can do it to them, but you can see in the face, it's just not gonna work. And I don't think Benavidez got to that point where he realized this isn't gonna work. Because even though Danny Garcia was doing it back, Danny Garcia only started doing it once he knew, oh, I'm actually in control of the fight right now. Like,
Danny Garcia realized, sorry, AB, Danny Garcia realized there's no contest here. Like this guy has no more gears. He's out of source, and whatever I do now just doesn't even matter. That's when Garcia, and I mean, as a pro athlete who is, you know, experienced enough to do that, I respect it. I don't think he should have done it because I don't think it was needed. But like, it also shows us as fans that, like, yeah, he's that in control that he's like, I can let my guard down and mimic someone who's this immature and still be flying high. He wasn't even put in by like a storm. He was just touch and go.
See, I want to take back what I said. I don't always hate when niggas do that shit. I hate when motherfuckers are losing, and they do that shit. Cause like, what the fuck are you doing? See, good example. Not to talk about the UFC, but Alexander Volkanovski just fought Max Holloway, right? They fought. This is their third time fighting. The first 2 times were close fights. The second time was closer, where a lot of people thought Max won. The third fight, Volkanovski came out there and beat the shit out that boy. And the minute he knew he was faster than him, he pointed at him. He said, I'm faster than you. Perfectly fine. You know what? And then proceeded to whip his ass for the next 3 rounds. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. If you up, strut your shit. No problem. If you're down, what are you doing? Get focused.
But this what are you doing? I don't think Benavidez really thought he was down how he was down. And that's why I feel like his corner needed to read.
I agree with you. It's his corner's fault then, because y'all supposed to be reading the situation.
Yeah, he was just floating by, whereas Garcia's corner was like, throw some more combinations, stay focused, like don't let this get to your head. He came back out and was like, let me pick up a bit of speed in the beginning or whatever. Like even 12th round, I feel like Benavidez's corner did say something in the like 12th round, like, oh, make sure this is 12th round, you know, put some work in here because it might not be looking as good as we thought. I feel like they did make a comment about that. But the thing is, Benavidez was still, at that point, his brain was so lost in the sauce that it was like, he was just, it was too late. His brain was set on just getting at Garcia. It was not even about winning. You could tell he forgot that he was actually fighting for a title. Like, he was just like, you know what? I'm going to piss this guy off no matter what.
They thought they was in the streets. He thought he was in the streets halfway through that fight. He was just like, yeah. Bro, you ain't getting no street cred, bro. You ain't getting no street cred, dog. You losing. You getting the L. Like, what? Come on, bro. That shit made me so mad, man. Because like I said, Benavidez has promise, bro. But you gotta tighten up, bro. You gotta tighten up.
Yeah, I think he's a great fighter. I just think he needs that focus, and he needs the right corner to like keep him focused. Like he needs tunnel vision. He's not someone who could be looking. He's got enough diversity. I think it just needs to be unleashed. Sorry, AB, I cut you like 5 minutes ago, but I was just so excited.
No, it's all right. Before we talk about who you should fight next, let's bring in Kevin, yeah?
Kevin.
What's up, Kevin?
Hi,
Kevin. How you doing, bro?
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, honey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good.
Pretty solid, man.
That's good.
Go on, did you watch the Danny Garcia fight?
Of course I did.
What did you make of it?
You thought Benavidez won, didn't you?
I wanted Garcia to win.
You wanted Danny to win, yeah.
Yeah. Although I predicted that it was gonna be knockout, but you know, Garcia won though. It was really good. I actually enjoyed it. I didn't expect for it to go full rounds though. I expected at least a knockout, but well, still was a really good fight.
Yeah, it was scrappy. I will say that it was scrappy at times, and I do like a good scrap. Sometimes but that was just through the frustrationness of them trying to get to each other. Is why it ended up being scrappy at points. Like, but yeah, I enjoyed it too. I did enjoy the fight, regardless, though.
Well, I think
Yeah.
after the fight, Garcia, he was asked who wants to fight next, and he said he'll fight a lot of people, but then he said he'll fight Lara at for the middleweight title, but he said at 155. That's Canelo's old weight class that Canelo invented back in the day. What did you think of that?
I mean, if Garcia thinks he can do it, I mean, go for it, because he just got a good victory, although it was decision, but it was a really good victory.
Oh, not really, babe. It was all right.
Yeah.
All right then.
I told you, yeah, facts.
Hey, you was picking against him. You got to think it's a good victory.
I mean, if he thinks he can do it, I mean, yeah, go for it. But I feel like it'll be a good challenge, maybe. Probably a good step up. But
So what do you think about him versus Lara?
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna sound so bad, but I just feel like Danny Garcia, it's enough now. Like, I genuinely feel like it's a like. He's looked up like. I'm sorry. But if that's, I feel like it's enough now. But if he wants to fight Lara, all right, let's do it. But you're gonna need to bring it again.
Yes, he's definitely gonna have to.
He's not beating Lara. I'm sorry. At 39, he's not beating him. If in my opinion.
I don't think he beats Lara either. I just think if he wants that fight,
bro, Lara can box, boy. I'm not trying to say Danny can't box, but you come there with that bullshit that you went against. That's another thing. Lara not getting all that fucking old cat and mouse play. He not far from. This is a traditional Cuban boxer, boy, from the old school. He come there to whoop that ass technically. You know what I'm saying? So you come here with that bullshit, you're losing, and you're losing bad, embarrassing. You know what I mean? So I would say if you go take the fight, because it sounds cool on paper. That shit sounds cool as fuck, and I will watch that. But don't play around with this guy. Don't think because I think niggas is thinking because of his age, but hey, Lara's still been giving people free smoke. You know what I mean? He's won like his last 5 fights. He been giving people smoke, and he been stopping some niggas too. So don't sleep on the old man, like, because he can still. Lara's style of fight, like the way he fights, is I don't know. I think it's a bad matchup for Danny because
I'm about to say the same thing. Like if you was to build a fighter to beat Danny, it'll probably be pretty much Lara as well.
Yeah. All that counter punching, weight and shit ain't gonna. It's not gonna help you. He's gonna be pumping that jab to the head, to the body. He's gonna be giving you angles. This is the Cuban school of boxing. They precise with theirs. So you better ask somebody if you're gonna go up there. I don't think he should do. I think he should keep easing his way into this division. But if he wanted, if you go up there, because look, Danny got a chance, but not off of these past performances do I think it's enough.
And this is why I feel like it's enough now, because we just watched him against Benavidez and we felt like he didn't put in enough work. Yeah, yes, he won the fight. It was actually very close. It didn't need to be that close, given how Benavidez actually performed in terms of Benavidez's boxing IQ. It's not really that great. So when you look at that and then you look at the rest of the people that Danny Garcia has actually fought, and then you lay it out and go, okay, I want to fight Lara. Well, have you got more in your tank than what you've just shown us? Like, do you actually have it? Because I don't know what other reason there is that you wasn't showing how elite you are in comparison to Benavidez. Like, how far is the gap from where you were showing us at the performance at Benavidez to where you're capable of getting at this point? Like, how much more do you have to give? Because that will tell us whether or not it's even worth going forward to fight someone like Lara. Because at the moment, I don't see it. I don't see him taking a win from Lara.
I feel like for Danny to win this fight, if he takes it, a knockout. Because if he doesn't get a knockout and it goes to round, how this Cuban boxer style is, he'll just get angles and angles. He'll just be making points at this point.
I can't even see a knockout as well.
I don't think he's knocking Lara.
Like I said, I feel like that's probably the only way he'll win.
Has Lara ever been knocked out?
I'm about to check right now, bro. I literally was like, let me think of, because I don't remember ever seeing him. I know
Even hurt. I don't remember seeing him hurt.
I know he fought Canelo, but even in that fight, the ultimate fight where I thought he won that shit, Canelo's first loss, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Which I ain't ready for that yet, but I'm not ready for that target. No, he's never been knocked out. So
who are you talking about, Lara?
Yeah, he's never been knocked out.
Yeah, he's never been knocked out. It's not gonna happen. That's why I'm like,
the man only lost twice.
Hey, I mean,
only lost three times.
Never say never. You don't know. Maybe it can happen this time.
You're right, Kevin. But it's very unrealistic, judging by his last performance.
And Garcia's got slow feet. You know, Lara's gonna be dancing the whole night. Even at his old age, he's still dancing all night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I'm looking at this man Lara's like.
Garcia's strong, but he's not that strong. Like
I'm looking at his resume, like, and I'm just thinking to myself in my head: is the light middleweight division underappreciated? Because this man has been whooping ass in this division, and I'm like, who are half of these people? Is it only important when people from welterweight pass through it to go up to middle? Is it only that? You know what I mean? Because I'm like, this man's 40 practically. He's only lost 3 times to Jared Hurd, Canelo, which was controversial, and fuck you said I saw how quick I was on that shit, and on Paul Williams.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about that.
What do you think about either of those against Charlo? Charlo's got the belts.
Danny versus Charlo, or
either one. Let's go with Danny versus Charlo first.
I think Charlo beats both of them.
Yeah. I think Charlo is gonna dominate.
Yeah.
I don't know, that first undisputed fight, it didn't look too good.
Facts.
I think Lara will give him a lot of problems.
Lara will give him problems. So here's my thing. With the way Charlo fights, I think it's actually good for Lara, though, because he's very aggressive. And I think in the later rounds, he would be very liable to get him and maybe even get him out of there. Because the way Charlo be throwing these punches are very vicious. You see how people react to him when they get hit with them, that they don't like it at all. And it's not even that it knocks them out or nothing. It just makes them feel uncomfortable. And like that leads to the beginning of their end. And I can very well I can definitely see Lara being. I think first of all, I think he beats Garcia no problem. I think he bullies him for real because I don't see Danny throwing enough punches to just keep up with it. You know what I mean? I can see him throwing punches in like combinations out of like trying to counter, but I just see Charlo just like stalking him because that's just his style. He's a very predatorial style. And yeah, I just think with Lara though, I think he would have more trouble. I think Lara's outboxing him the first couple rounds. But I think eventually he's gonna start grinding on him. Like even though he's outboxing him in those rounds, Lara's still gonna be getting hit, and those are gonna still start to accumulate. And then I think he'll be able to crush him in the later rounds. Maybe not a while ago, but I think now, yes, now. But that's my opinion.
Go on, Princess.
Yeah, basically, I second what Kuzan's saying. Couldn't have said it better. Basically, I nodded the whole through that.
I feel like it would be a good fight and stuff, but I feel like Charlo would still be a higher dominant against Lara. Because considering the fact that he's aggressive and somewhat a pressure fighter, getting hit with those shots, he might stun Lara or something. And if he gets him with a good shot, Lara might end up getting knocked out. So, I don't know.
Do you think Danny Garcia will ever be a world champion again?
It depends on who it is against.
I'm just going to say it. Respectfully.
Let me see how old he is again.
He's 34.
Nah, bro, I don't know, man.
I think he would. I think he would.
At what division? At this division? At light middleweight?
Yes.
No.
Yeah,
Nah.
he said it
But
depends-
like I
depends who he
said,
fights.
it depends on like the fighter though. I feel like depending like shoot, for example. Damn,
What
hold on.
happened to Jarrett Hurd?
Bro, don't look. I'm hurt. Don't listen. I love Jared Hurd. I'm biased for this because he's from PG County. I'm from PG County, Maryland. We're both from the same. I actually met his aunt once at getting my dreads twisted. She came in there with a Swift Jared Hurd shirt. I said, "Oh my God, I'm a big fan of that guy." She said, "Oh, that's my nephew." I was like, "Oh my God, marked out." But look, man, he's just going through some shit, man. All right, he'll be back. He took a couple of losses. He just the problem with Jared Hurd, bro. I love him to death. Is that for how he's built. Like aesthetically, like his athleticism and everything, he doesn't fight like it. He fights like an inside fighter, but he's built like an outside fighter. Like he doesn't really have defense, and like that's something that he's in the process of learning now. Like his defense has gotten better. You know what I'm saying? So just hold tight. I just think like he was like in the right place at the right time for his for him winning the title, but like, and he just was fighting. Like he fought Lara, and that fight was close. Like you see how that fight, like I don't know if y'all ever watched that fight, but that fight, how it went down, is how I think it would go down with Charlo. Only Charlo would stop Lara in the end, because in that fight, Jared was piecing up, like he was hitting Lara a lot, like he was hitting him visibly, and it was showing on Lara's face. But Lara was outboxing Hurd, like it was no question. Like he was outboxing him. I think I can't remember, but it might have been a knockdown in that fight, and that might have swung because he only won by split decision. So to show you how, you know what I mean, that Lara still is that guy. You know what I mean? Like because Jared, that fight was great. I loved it. But yeah, man, he'll be back. Don't worry, Jared be back. He'll be back. I hear you saying what's up with him. He'll be back. Don't worry. Let that guy, man.
He just popped into my head because I was thinking at 154, he's always in a good fight, innit? So it'll be good to see him against these guys. But I reckon he'll beat Danny as well. I was thinking of any titleist, but he'd beat Danny. Simply just he'll overwhelm him. Danny's a bit too small for him. Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. Hurd's he's a big guy. Like when I see him in the inside fighting people, he's like hunched over. I'm like, dude, just use your jab and step back. You ain't even got to do all that because he's got good power. He doesn't have he has power that wakes motherfuckers up. Like he gonna hit a couple motherfuckers and they sit down. He got some sit down power. So just think of that as an outboxer, bro. It's just like a guy is good on his feet. He would be torching motherfuckers, man. But you can't teach. Sometimes you can't teach people. Like some people are just they fight the way they instinctively fight. You know what I mean? It's hard to like teach somebody that. But I think he's going through that process now of like trying to like learn that. But because he just lost that split decision too against Luis Aries, that guy who fought Danny Jacobs.
Oh yeah,
that guy. Yeah. So and that's what I'm saying. It's like
that's a good fight as well.
Yeah, he is a good fighter. Yeah, so it's crazy, man.
All right, let's switch gears for a little bit. Let's move over to the UK. Chirs Billam Smith picked up a 12-round decision over Isaac Chamberlain. Now Chamberlain, he started off quite strong in this fight. The beginning, it felt like he might pull it off, but I feel like he just faded and didn't do enough later on in the fight. And I think that's to do with what we spoke about last week. He's a very small cruiserweight. These guys are massive. I think the size and obviously the power, the weight, I think he played a part in just slowing him down, and he wasn't able to do later in the fight was doing in the beginning. Princess, what did you make of the fight?
Oh man, this fight. Honestly, it was so tough to watch because, like you said, I feel like Chamberlain, because of his size, there was just that weight advantage. Chirs really knew how to use his weight as well. It wasn't even like there was just a weight advantage. Like he was throwing his weight around. Like every time Chamberlain's back against the wall, the ropes, he just had. It's like there was no control. Like he wasn't really moving enough. Like for some reason, I don't know. I just feel like the work rate wasn't there. For the longevity of it, like he was working, but Chirs was just slightly outworking him, just ever so slightly. And I don't know. I feel like somehow or somewhere in that fight, Chirs got in his head without trying to. like I feel like Chamberlain started to maybe lose a bit of faith in himself and just felt like he was being broken down. Basically, he just Chris was breaking him down slowly throughout that fight, and I feel like you could see that Chamberlain was feeling like he was. So it was working, and I don't really know why, but yeah, I really, really, really felt like Chamberlain was very close to taking it. Like we just needed a bit more from him, let himself go and just be a bit more relaxed. Maybe I just feel like maybe there was something that was just missing from the Chamberlain that we normally see.
I think what hurts him the most from that fight is like, obviously Chamberlain spoke about how his uncle stole money from him. His promoters weren't really promoting him. He sacrificed basically his life, went to America, got a lot of good coaches around him, trained, built himself up, was fighting small hall shows that no one's ever heard of, all to build up for this moment. And he fell short, which is like, he's done what you'd expect what you wouldn't expect most boxers to do. It's like he's done everything right, but then still managed to fall short, which is very, very sad. Sometimes you need a story like that with a happy ending, but this one is not a happy ending because I feel like this is his one chance.
Honestly, the last round, like if there was maybe 10 more seconds, I might be being a bit generous, like maybe like 30 more seconds, but like if there was just a little bit longer in the last round, I feel like Chamberlain could have had a knockout.
Yeah.
I actually feel like the knockout was coming. Like he just needed like 3 uppercuts and maybe a right hook, and it would have been over. Like that's what made it more frustrating. I was like, he's gonna win. He's gonna get it. Like this last, because you could tell that Chamberlain really offloaded and tried to give everything by the last round. But by then it was almost too late. It was like you needed to break him down just a little bit more earlier, because Chris was tired. It's just Chamberlain was way more tired and just couldn't. You couldn't match that. But when it got to that last round and the last 10 seconds, I was literally on the edge of my chair. Like, oh my, he was just so close. Like that knockout was actually pen, and he knew by that point that he needed a knockout. That's what made it that bit more sweet. And then when the bell went, it was like you could tell Chris had been shaken, and that was Chris was thankful that the bell went. Put it that way.
Yeah, 100%.
And it just a little more time, and Chamberlain would have had it. And I guess that's probably more disheartening when he watches it back. He'll probably notice that as well. But yeah, just a bit more work rate earlier on, and just not allowing him to put to throw his weight about, man. I feel like they were fighting two different fights. Like the styles just wasn't gelling in Chamberlain's favor, and I think he didn't adapt to that. He didn't adapt to how Chris was fighting. He just kind of went with his technique and tried to just outwork him a bit more, and that wasn't. I don't think that was the right decision. I think he couldn't outwork him by that point. He was just too tired, and there was too much going on from Chris's side. His work rate was a lot higher, so he just needed to actually change plans, change gears, and put a lot more in the pedal at earlier stages.
Go on, Kevin, what did you make of the fight?
I loved it. It was very, like Princess said, very scary to watch, because I did want Chamberlain to win, and I was really hoping at the last round, like she was mentioning, the last, like if he just had an extra 10, 20 seconds, he actually may have pulled up with a good knockout. Because you could just see it, like during how it was fighting going towards the end, you could just see like in his eyes and the way he was just constantly still coming back. He like just didn't want to give up. He just didn't want to back down. It's like he just kept going and going and going and giving it his all. But then, yeah, then it happened. But oh my God, I was in my mind, and I was in my room screaming. I was like, can you just get the knockout? Like just screaming on my TV, knock him.
It's all right, babe. It's all right. It's the name of the game. We got you.
Oh man, but it was really. I don't know how everyone would feel about this, but I kind of would love to see a rematch.
I would as well, actually.
I want to see a rematch.
I would actually like to. I'm normally not really interested in rematches most of the time, but I would love to see a rematch for this one. And the heart that Chamberlain showed, like one eye was closed. I know a lot of boxers have one eye closed, but it gets me every time. One eye was closed, and at the end, the interview after, they were like, "Do you want a rematch?" Yes, I do. And I was like, "With your one eye?" I love that. I love that for you. That makes my heart like. No,
he definitely has heart.
Considering once that eye's closed, I'm reconsidering. I'm like, we'll talk about this later when I have my mental back. No, once eyes shut, I don't want to hear rematch. Sorry. And that is why I don't box, guys. I'm I'll be punching after now. When I see him gone, I'll be like, yes.
Don't you think it would be better for him to fight someone like Dion Juma or one of the other cruiserweights just to get himself like a solid win at the weight?
Personally, no. I just feel like once you come off a loss like that, we want the rematch. That's what we want. We don't want to see you do like a little pedestal before the rematch. We want what we asked for. Like, I'm just not. I'm at a place with boxing where I don't want to wait for fights. I just want it to happen. Like, no 5 years, no 3 years, no 6 months. Get your camp sorted. Make it make sense. Put the right money in each other's pockets and just give us the fight. Like, none of this playtime, this whole let's fight for free, all of this malarkey. Like, I don't need that much promo. I love the sport already. You don't need to promo to me. I'm gonna watch it anyway. So just put the fight on. Personally, it's enough for me.
Just work out again, go back to training, make the deal, make the contract, and focus on getting that rematch. Don't focus on no other fights. Don't focus on anyone else. Just focus on Chris again.
Exactly, because then all that happens is you start focusing on the new contender or the new person, and then it's like it draws away the attention from what we actually wanted, not what we wanted. I wanted the rematch.
What about Chris though? Because he's been at Chris. He's been at that level for a little while now. Don't you think he wants to push on?
This is why Chamberlain should have won. Because
you're on one for this now.
She was prepared for this moment,
right?
I wanted Chamberlain to win in it. You guys already know from last week. I was like, I could do it. And the thing is, he was so close, so it's not like I was that far off. Even though, like, I'm just saying, historically, I've never actually been wrong. This is probably the first fight, and this is because I'm emotionally invested. So I don't normally bet on fights that I'm emotionally invested on this level. But yes, like, it was very close, and that's all I had to say about that.
Kuzan, did you watch it?
Nah, bro. I did not watch that. You see me? I'm quiet. Look, I ain't watch shit. I don't say shit, bro. That's bad journalism, brother. Fuck no. Look, I ain't watch it. I know who these people are. Like, I think I told y'all last week that, like, I don't really, like, know that much about, like, when y'all be having domestic, you know what I mean? Unless it's, like, two of the guys that are, like, I know. Like, I knew who Chamberlain was because I knew when he fought Lawrence Okoli. See, that's the only time I really know domestic scraps is if both of the domestic guys are like big name domestic prospects. Then I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Because that was that case, you know what I mean? But then after I seen that shit, I was like, oh, brother, I'm definitely not watching you again. So, you know what I mean? But and I never seen this other guy. So, but after hearing y'all talk about it, I'm gonna have to watch it so that next week when we come back, I can actually be like, yo, that shit was crazy because Harry hit the chat like right after the shit happened. I know because it was Saturday, but it was like early as shit in the day for me. So I was like, oh yeah, that fight must have just finished. Like, you know what I mean? And he's like, yo, this shit was good. Like, you know, I was like, okay. So,
you know, when you watch it, it'll be interesting to know what you think because you've got the prejudgment of his fight against Lawrence Okoli, and that is a heavy prejudgment. And that is almost, personally, I would say, one of the remaining fights that sort of linger in your head for Chamberlain. Like, it was a big fight, so that is what your mind resorts back to, I would say. So when you think of that, and then you watch this one this week, you're going to be like, there is a difference. This is it. You'll feel emotionally invested. That's why when it gets to the last round and like he almost pulls it out of the bag, you're just like, oh,
damn. Okay. And we're gonna see. I'm gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Thing is with this domestic dust ups, it's like with all title fights. A lot of times you know who's gonna win before they even step into the ring, right? But with these, it's like they're mostly 50-50. So even like Chirs Billam Smith, he fought a guy called Tommy McCarthy, right? And he was supposed to just wipe the floor of McCarthy, but I generally thought McCarthy won the first fight.
Yeah.
And then obviously they have the rematch and Billam Smith knocked him out, but you get a lot of good action. Even that fight again with Chamberlain, a lot of good action in that fight. So I think that's why we like it so much because you never know how it's going to turn out. And then you have the rare instance where you have the Okoli versus Chamberlain where he just falls flat on his face.
What was that? Sorry, excuse my French. But not, you know what? I just thinking about it. There was another, and more recently, there was another domestic UK dust up that I remember watching, and it was Daniel Dubois versus Nathan. What's that guy? Gorman, whatever that guy. The bald white brother, the bald big white brother, that guy. And that was like, damn. I remember that because that Gorman guy was talking fat shit. He was like, yeah, you know, he ain't got nothing on me, motherfucker. I got some shit for him. Daniel Dubois was like, yes, but see, the problem with that is I hit hard.
I hit hard.
But yeah, y'all be having some good scraps, bro. It's definitely more. I feel like it's just hyped and loved. I said this last week. It's hyped and loved more over there than when like two American people fight over here, unless they're both, like I said, like crazy prospects. But like over there, I feel like I get excited when it don't even matter, because like y'all have a lot of people who are just like hometown loves, like people. It might not even be like really have great records, but they're just loved in their community, in their area, so they automatically just get draws. You know, I noticed that more with like when I was watching Josh Warrington. Not saying Josh Warrington is one of those type of people, because Josh Warrington is a stud, like, you know what I mean, he's elite. But look at the people come out for him. What's this area, Leeds or something like that?
Leeds.
People come out for that motherfucker, man, and they don't do that shit over here, bro. We don't really give a like it's. We do, but we don't. Not like y'all. Y'all really be giving a fuck, man. Like y'all give a fuck about the smallest motherfucker, you know?
Let me just say, it's like, you know how you said that everyone gets involved in these domestic dust-ups, but it's because in America, you guys don't even think about it. Can you imagine if Virgil Ortiz and Jerome Ennis fought like a year ago or 2 years ago?
My God.
It doesn't even come into people's minds. That's how crazy. Like, it's not even a thought in people's minds. But if those two would have fought, A, it would have been a massive fight.
You might take a sip of water for that one.
B, the winner would instantly have to be like, yo, I need a title shot.
Yes.
And no one could deny them. You see what I'm saying? Like, no one could deny them. I'm like, yeah, they need the title shot. So that's what I just don't get why it doesn't happen.
And push shit in America. They try to be like, no, keep them away from each other and let them both get titles and then make them fight each other, because that's the alphabet soup title shit. That's what they try to do in America, because it's all about money. It's all about how can I make the most money out of this fighter, not only about how great this fighter is. And that's what the fuck is killing this goddamn sport, man. The private people.
I also think because the UK is so much smaller, like, with all due respect, do you know what I mean? A lot of the big athletes are in America, and you guys have a lot of the sports. Like, people go to America to, like, I don't know, play basketball. Like, you don't really go, I'm going to move to London to play basketball. So, like, we don't have that many big sports that we can, like, rant and rave about, where we have in, like, domestic fighters or domestic professional athletes that we can go, okay, there's two of them. We got, like, one in a while, one every, like, blue moon. Like, oh my gosh, we have, I don't know, let's say Chamberlain or Okoli or Anthony Joshua. That's like one big, ginormous name in comparison to like 12 in America. Like, we have to love Anthony Joshua, like, especially in his prime. Like, who else are we gonna love?
Do y'all still get y'all get to claim Tyson, right? No, y'all get to claim him.
We claim Tyson.
What to say?
Okay.
Yeah, because he's UK, so there you go. The best heavyweight fighter in the world is English. So
yeah, but I mean, like,
but yeah, I get what you're saying. When it comes to like
regular,
overall and a lot of people, yeah.
Now,
we were talking about. Me and my friend was talking about this today, just right now at all. Like, look at like world champions in boxing. A lot of them are primarily African American Americans. You know what I mean? Like, it's just yeah, man. But I love it. I love hearing about the UK dust ups, man, over there. When there's two people I know who they are.
All right. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
We could have talked about that heavyweight, but we don't have to, because it's not even really. It's just so old news. But PBC, you got to stop pushing these motherfuckers before you can actually know if they can like go out there and deliver. Because,
but that's what you talked about earlier. Kaunaki, he was a big draw in Brooklyn because he had that Eastern European community, but he's been getting smashed to bits.
It's because, bro, look at that guy though. He's small, dude. For heavyweight, he's small, and it's like he's good, but he's not great. And when you already have a athletically disadvantage, and you're not like a superb. See, here's the thing: you can either have one or the other in my eyes. You can either be athletically challenged and just be superb technique. You know what I mean? Prime example: Usyk, if he continues to fight at heavyweight, he's going to be massively undersized, but his skill is phenomenal, so he's able to carry him through fights. Or you just be athletically gifted and your skill is subpar. Deontay Wilder, athletically gifted, but You know what I mean? You can't have a sprinkle half of both. You can't be halfway good at like technique and then you're undersized. It doesn't work like that. Like you're gonna eventually meet somebody who all they have to do is either be athletic, more athletic than you, or be more skillful than you, and they might take you out. You know what I'm saying? Like I
feel
said,
like Darren Ennis is a good example. Of,
say that again.
like, I feel like Darren Ennis is a good example of someone who just has everything. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, he has everything. That's true. He's just athletic. But that's what I'm saying. Adam doesn't have. He don't have athletic. He doesn't have the athletic in his weight class. Jared Ennis has both. He has the skill and he has athletic. Adam don't have that. He has good skills, but he's grossly undersized. In my opinion, to some of these heavyweights, I wouldn't say grossly, but he's undersized. It's clear undersized. Like I said, he went up against Robert Helenius, who I'm not taking nothing from Robert Helenius. He's not. I mean, he's
not
a
elite
great fighter, but he's not elite. Exactly, he's not elite. But Helenius, who isn't like, he's not like hulking, but he's bigger than Adam, was able to keep him at bay with straights. You know what I'm saying? And then he stopped him twice. So it's just like, he's just, yeah, man. PBC, you need to stop counting your chickens before they hatch, bro. Put these actually, if you gonna do this shit where you like try to build motherfuckers into marquees and shit, do it like how the UFC do it. The UFC, when they know niggas is good, like as draws and shit and have potential, they make them fight fuckers who are like, you know what I mean? Level like 40 motherfuckers, because they give them those build character fights. PBC, you already controlling that shit anyway. So go ahead and give these motherfuckers the build character fight. Don't put that man out there against somebody who if you even have any in your mind, think that it's kind of, don't put them in there. You already criminals. Why you acting like you not? So you might as well just keep doing the shit. You know what I mean? At least take care with your egg. Nurse it a little bit better before you just send it out there. Because now look at him. He just, oh man, what is like, nobody's even checking for him, man. We were almost about to forget to talk about him, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, PBC, get your shit together.
I have one question actually. Who do you guys think would win out of like Rich Riakporhe and Chris?
I'll take Riakporhe.
Same. I see.
Also, Kuzan, one thing I will say, I don't know if you watched. Did you watch Joshua Buatsi versus Craig Richards?
Yes, that shit was crazy.
Just wanted to make sure, because you were saying you like the domestic.
Yeah, and that's another one that I watched because I like both of those guys. I know that AB, you got to interview Craig, didn't you?
Yeah.
And that was cool. I marked out for that. When I seen that, I was like, oh my God. I know this guy, and he's talking to Craig Richards. I'm like, I definitely marked out for that. Oh yeah, that was a class fight. I would love to see those motherfuckers fight again, too.
Yeah, I actually watched that one live, and also if it helps, I've actually interviewed both of them too. So now you know two.
Oh my God.
One of them went to my uni.
Mark out on camera, man. Come on, man. I'm gonna turn my camera.
Yeah, that was a really good fight.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight. And that's what I'm saying. Like that is exactly what would happen if, like AB said, that's similar to like if Jared Ennis and Victor Ortiz fought. You know what I mean? Just now. Like just two people who are just on the up and up, you know what I mean? And they just like go at it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
All right. Last topic. I just thought of this randomly when I was thinking about Adam Karnacki. All right. Jarrell Big Baby Miller has returned to the ring twice in the last month after a 4-year ban from boxing.
Was he the one that was taking them drugs? He the one that was taking the drugs?
Yeah. What do you think of him making a return to boxing? And do you think there's any chance that he's actually clean this time?
I mean, I personally would not like to risk my fighter to go and fight him. That's my answer for that.
You said you think he, come on, brother. He's still, let me ask you a question. He's still looking like this? Because if he's still looking like that, then you need to add some more years to the ban. He's still looking like that. Bro, I don't know, bro. When he was first coming out, man, he kind of rubbed me the wrong way because like the way he was coming about boxing to me was just all wrong. I know his background, like he came from like kickboxing or something like that, right? Before that or something like that. And he, to me, he just came in. He wasn't really respecting motherfuckers. He was just coming in, just doing his shit. He was just like, you know, I remember with that whole, and then he almost got the biggest payday of his career against Anthony Joshua. What you forget is, when you start fighting these motherfuckers that are elites, you know, they start really looking into your shit. You know what I'm saying? They start really looking into your shit because these are title fights and shit. These ain't, you know, you just fighting, you know. So I don't know. I'm definitely about to go watch those fights though, because I definitely didn't even know he fought. Like, I thought he was still banned. I ain't even gonna hold you. But I'm definitely gonna go watch him. But no, I don't think he's still clean, because I don't, for the way he fights, the style he fights, and his whole mentality. I don't know if y'all ever followed him on IG. I never followed him, but I used to watch IG videos. He has this just mentality about like, oh, you could eat fucking 8 cheeseburgers and still be, and I just feel like, nah, bro, you own some shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way. His mentality is, so if that mentality hasn't changed, no, he's still taking shit. I'm almost, yeah.
Funny thing is, he blocked me on Instagram like 6 months before the Joshua fight because I was calling him out for PEDs. And then
that's funny. That's funny.
And then what else?
no, that's about it. You guys got any final thoughts?
No, roll on the rematch with Chamberlain and Chris. Please.
I would like to. I really want to see that rematch.
See,
All right,
Kevin.
so
rematch by Christmas.
Yeah, by Christmas, damn.
Oh, you wanted to talk about Virgil Ortiz too, but that's for next week.
Nah, that's all right. We'll save that one. So, moral of the story is we need a rematch for Chamberlain, and Danny Garcia will become the undisputed junior middleweight.
Yeah, okay. You smoking? What you smoking on? And let me get some.
I don't know. I still believe Garcia will become champion. I don't know. Something tells me I see it.
Oh, Kevin, man, I'm gonna give you a hug whenever I see you, brother, because you want that princess story. You want that Princess Diary story. You want that Cinderella Man story. That's what it is. You want that. Yeah, you want that Rocky 2. That's what you want. And you know he's from Philly too. I see it. I see the connection.
I'm just saying. No, I don't know. I personally feel now that he's back and now that he won this fight, it may have boosted his ego, make him do more hardcore training, different types of movesets and skills, and you know, we probably might see a different Danny, especially after defeating depression and stuff. You know, you don't know what to expect. So
No, 100%. But yeah, again, guys, thank you guys for watching or listening. If you're streaming this, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, leave a review if you're on Spotify. Yeah, thank you for you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yep. It's been the Purist podcast. Thank you guys for watching.